heart and sword, always for Demacia.
Seems you left your brave pants at home. You want me to wait while you go get them? Don't be a scaredy cat!
The fun begins.
Heyo, what's going on, everybody? Connell, how are you doing today? Doing all right?
I'm excited. I'm very excited to finally see Iowa play because they've been hyped up like crazy on our Discord so far.
Yeah, me too, dude. This team is going to be absolutely insane. So, everybody, welcome in to Monday Night Scuff League, baby. These are the prime time, grind time games, baby. We got the Iowa Kingslayers and the Delaware Guard going at it today. Iowa, like we just mentioned, super hyped up team. I'm really excited to actually watch them in action today.
Yeah, me too. They're on the top of Mike's power listing. And basically, I think everybody's saying they're the favorites to win the whole tournament right now. So this would be quite an upset if Delaware managed to pull some magic out of the hat.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like they are the favorites for the tournament. You can just take a look at their OP.GGs and like that'll tell you all that you need to know. These players are not only some of the best players in this tournament, some of the top percentage of players in North America based off of how you decide to determine what percentage ranks are and stuff like that. And they're generally all mains in their role. So the Delaware's got their work cut out for them today. And I'm interested to see what kind of game plan they craft to try to combat this potent Iowa team.
See, being in first place can also be kind of a curse, though, because if you're playing a match of TFT, you look at the guy in first place, see what he's doing, and you know not to copy his build. In this, it's the exact opposite. You copy what they're doing, and you prepare to take it down.
Yeah, well, we will definitely see. Like I said, Delaware. I'm not quite sure how well they're gonna do. They are, like we mentioned, have their work cut out for them, and I'm predicting a pretty swift slaughter, very clean. Game I'm hoping for out of Iowa, but I'm mostly just excited to see them play. When you have great League of Legends players taking the Rift, it's hard not to be excited about it.
It's a very exciting matchup either way, because Delaware's team isn't like in the lower half of the bracket either. They're around 9th or 8th, I believe, in the guess rankings that some people have created. So this still could be a close and interesting game. I'm definitely not counting Delaware out, but they definitely have their work cut out for them.
Absolutely could be. Now, I do want to. I've been thinking. All right. So we've seen the other Midwestern teams such as Indiana, Illinois, and Tennessee. All the corn has all failed. 5 corn cobs attempting to play League of Legends. Right. This team, the Iowa Kingslayers, is the Scuffed League's attempt at bioengineering the perfect 5 sentient cobs of corn attempting to play League of Legends at a high level, and I think they've perfected it. I think the Scuffed League has perfected the process of creation here, and we have 5 very good sentient corn cobs.
They got the best fertilizer, the best anti-ladybug juice, whatever that's called. They got
ladybug juice.
I don't know. They put something on it to stop the
pesticides.
Stop bugs from. Yes, I got the word pesticide.
Oh my god!
They got the best. They're using the best sun. They're using the best water systems. They're growing the strongest corn they possibly can over in Iowa.
Strongest corn, the corn, muscular ass corn. It's like you just see the corn walking down the street, and you just see a couple of pops on the arm. A couple of popped corn there, like that's representing the muscle walking down the street. Then this is the good corn too. This is the like the Indian corn that's got the different colors on it. That's really cool. But people always told you not to eat because it tastes bad. Yeah. The corn has been specifically bioengineered to be the ones that aren't going to be eaten today.
Yeah, sometimes corn gets popped, but this corn is ripped.
But this corn is popping, baby. So, Do wanna touch on what we think could be potential picks and bans for today's game. We'll start with Iowa. Just it's pretty easy to start with them. I don't know who you're going to ban. Are you going to ban the top lane main that plays, all of the standard, all of the top lane champions like Fiora, Jax, all that kind of stuff? Or are you going to ban the jungle main that plays a bunch of great junglers, including Rek'Sai, who is an incredible champion when you have all this type of information available to you, seeing where the opponents are walking around? Or, are you going to ban out the support that was Master last season that plays every support under the sun? What about the AD carry that's Grandmaster this season that plays all of the AD carries? Like, this team, I don't know who you're going to ban. I will say that Delaware has an easy ban phase because any ban they decide to make is probably going to be a good one, but it's probably not going to be enough. Riot, they really need to provide 10 ban slots, 2 for each player, then maybe I would consider Delaware having a better chance. I do think that Iowa will go after some certain players. Will probably pick on the mid laner or the support here, as they are the two best players for Team Delaware. Team Delaware has started off the draft by banning Graves. Iowa has responded in kind by banning Alawi, quite annoying champion. I personally don't like playing against Alawi.
Yeah, Lowry's that top laner that your jungler doesn't want to even bother with because she'll just 2v1 you in the lane. The big thing for me about picks and bans is looking at this tournament so far, we've seen a couple of champions sort of be shown to be insanely powerful. The big ones that come to my mind is we've seen a lot of Orianna do really well, and we've seen a lot of Hecarim do really well. So I'm looking to see these players who can play basically anything either adapt to that meta or embrace it and take those picks away. I want to see somebody grab or ban Orianna.
Yeah, Hecarim, very, very strong champion right now as a meta pick, even in pro play. Orianna has never been a bad pick in the history of ever, it seems like. Her team fight capability is so strong. Her laning is really, really good. She's a little vulnerable to ganks, but if you play it right and play it smart, you should be generally fine. It's a good Caitlyn ban. I mean, the best AD carries will be able to abuse Caitlyn. So I think that's a good selection from Delaware. Delaware will first pick the Ashe for Louie Gee. Interested to see how he's going to be able to perform there. And the Ashe first pick is very, very risky because this signals that, hey, we are a low mobility AD carry team right now. So do whatever you can to absolutely run me over.
So Ashe is basically seen as like the next tier down from Caitlyn. A lot of times it's basically seen as it's Kate, Ashe, and then Jhin. So the Twitch pick is very interesting. I'm looking to see this guy play that well because clearly it's a pocket pick for him.
I was wondering if it was going to be a Twitch jungle, but it looks like the Lilia might get picked up here, unless it's a Lilia top. Like, when players smurf lower elos and they jungle, Twitch is one of the junglers of choice because he's really, really strong. You can abuse him because they don't ward in lower elo. So I'm wondering if that's the type of case here. I do want to touch on Iowa's last two bans before we continue about the picks. They banned Olaf, they banned Warwick. These are pretty good bans. In general, over toward the jungler, Meowgie is going to have a smaller pool to work with here. We do see Delaware is picking up the Akali. That is definitely one of the champions that Dream to Me likes to play. So a nice comfort pick there and a very strong champion to boot.
Yeah, a little early to pick your mid laner, if you ask me, because it opens for it to be counter pick. That being said, there's not a whole lot you can do to counter pick Akali, so it's a pretty safe pick. But they could also flex a top.
They could. So it looks like Delaware had finished off with a Sejuani. The first ban phase, pick phase is now done. Meowgie does play a little bit of Sejuani. Meanwhile, Iowa elected to take a Kayn. That pretty much ensures that this switch will be an AD carry. And Kayn is definitely one of the
I do not like that Amumu ban at all. They've already picked up the Sejuani. I don't see the Sejuani not jungling, and I don't see Amumu not jungling either. So banning Amumu after Delaware has already picked a jungler seems a bit of a misplay.
They did spell Iowa with the ban.
They spelled Iowa with the ban.
Based off of that Amumu ban.
That makes sense. Wow, now they're just flexing on us.
I was a little confused because I scouted a bunch of these players beforehand, and Alawi, Olaf, and Warwick are not in the pools of Team Delaware's players. I
Ooh,
wish I would have seen that a little bit sooner. I was like, all right, these
that is
are weird. Maybe they did better homework than I did, but
that is
they
some
did opt for Team
disrespect
Iowa
right
with their
there.
bans, and then no ban for the last one. Meanwhile, Delaware has decided we're gonna go sweaty with our bans. They opt for Lulu Fiora. Some excellent bans there. Fiora is a really, really strong top laner. That being said, I don't think the Fiora was a necessary ban here. It looks like this is likely going to be a Lilia top lane. So could have probably directed that ban toward a second support pick or maybe a mid pick. We do see the Shen come out for Iowa. This looks like it will probably go the way of the support here. Not quite sure. They could do some weird stuff. Maybe
It could be
this
Lilia
is a Lilia.
support Shen
Maybe
top.
this is like a Lilia mid or something like that, and a Shen top. But I'm guessing it's going to be Lilia top Shen support.
I've seen
Delaware.
Lilia support. I've seen a Lilia support as well. So
I have not seen that before. This is new technology,
yeah,
so I
it's
will be interested to see if that's where it goes. Delaware has.
whoa. Okay.
I am very confused. I am so confused right now. Delaware has went with Riven Darius.
Maybe it is a
Which,
Sejuani support.
which leaves them. Well, if it's a Sejuani support, who's going to jungle?
Uh,
Okay, there's a bug. Okay,
okay.
so the picks is Rakan instead of Riven. So it will be Ash Rakan on the bottom lane. Did hear that from our observer. Thank you very much. It was a small technical mishap. This does happen with pro draft at times. And it looks like Iowa has locked in that Zoe as the final pick. Oh, oh, never mind. So it's locked in as a Zoe, but it's actually a Thresh. So I believe this is a Lilia mid. It looks like the team. To me, the team comp seems to me Shen top, Kane jungle, Lilia mid, Twitch Thresh bot lane. Instead, again, it's Thresh instead of the Zoe. I haven't seen anybody play Lilia mid. And that might be a lie. I think I may have seen it once or twice. But that's a very interesting pick. I think that these are very flex on you type picks coming out from Team Iowa. They're flexing in the ban phase. They're flexing in the draft phase. I do think. I hope Team Delaware takes this as a big sign of disrespect, and I want to see them come out with a fire and not be afraid. I do think in scenarios like this, when there's a big rank disparity, you can see the ranks below. I mean, we have 2 plats, 2 golds, and a silver against 4 diamonds and a grandmaster, and one of these diamonds was master last season. This team is actually absolutely stacked top to bottom. So I do hope that Team Delaware kind of tune out the noise, maybe hide the nameplates and only have the champion names up. Don't think about how big the disparity in ranks are. They're just players. Just think of them as bots. They might be Doom bots, but think of them as bots.
Yeah, it's not exactly unheard of to try to do a weird ban maneuver to try to psych your opponents out. There have even been times in best of 5 series in pro play where somebody will buy a Magi's Soul Stealer just to troll because they've clearly won game 1 and they're just trying to tilt their opponent going into the rest of the series.
Or they bought a bunch of tiers,
Yeah, something stupid.
Was that? I can't remember who it was or what item it even was, but I think it was Darion on old Moscow 5 bought Morello Namicon, old Morello Namicon on Renekton one game or something like that. Something stupid. And a pro game. That dude was a was a memer through and through. He was in the league scene too soon, in my opinion. So, as we wait in, these are our starting lineups as you can see them below. If you're not watching and you're listening in, for Team Delaware, we do have Dragon Prince in the top lane, Meowgie in the jungle, Dream to Me in the mid lane, Louie Gee in the bot lane at 80 carry, and TheSillyDuck playing support. Meanwhile, on Team Iowa, we have Lord Kuzko in the top lane, Zhadox in the jungle, lastspartanman in the mid lane, Raheen 1 and Firelight will be in the bottom lane as AD carry and support respectively, and they are ready to rumble. I mean, if I'm Team Iowa, I'm salivating at the mouth of this kind of bot lane destruction you could wreak havoc on.
Yeah, there's a slight chance here that Iowa ends up doing sort of the Apollo Crews fallacy, where you're so confident in your win that you don't need to worry about your bans, that you end up slipping up here. So
And then, getting punched in the face and dying. in an
exactly.
exhibition fight.
Like, I could very well see this still going Delaware's way.
I do think that Delaware missed out the best counter. They could have picked Singe top lane. It could have been the poison for Kuzco. Kuzco's poison. The poison that is meant for Kuzco.
Well, they do have the Twitch, and there is some poison on their
Kuzco's
squad.
poison.
Well, it's not Kuzco because it's Raheem who's got the poison. But
the poison intended for Kuzco.
it was intended for Kuzco.
I hope you get that reference.
Yes, I get that.
Okay.
Reference.
Your lack of excitement was leading me to believe that you didn't understand the reference, and I was going to be very upset.
No, I got it. It's just like the other person in the reference isn't that excited about it as it's happening.
That's fair. I can agree with that. So, all right. So your team Delaware, craft a game plan for. You know what you're playing against.
I think the game plan is really simple for them. They drafted the better engage tool. They have the Sejuani ultimate, one of the best engages in all of League of Legends. Because it's a stun, it's an AoE slow, it's a great way to start the team fight. They got that on top of the Ash Arrow. But that's really all and the Rakan taunt as well. So they actually have a really strong engage here. And Twitch is not exactly known for his survivability as an AD carry.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He is definitely gank prone. However, is insulated a lot by that thresh. So against the Ash Rakan, it's going to be kind of hard. It's going to be mostly on the Ash to do all the poke duties onto the Twitch. The Rakan is going to have opportunities for engage, but as long as Thresh plays a tight game, is able to stick on top of the Twitch, land all the flays, they shouldn't have too much of a problem, Team Iowa, and that'll definitely kind of disallow Team Delaware from doing anything. But maybe Team Delaware doesn't want to brawl. Maybe they've practiced really, really hard and they play a really, really tough macro game that Team Iowa is not expecting. What do you think about that? You think that that's a viable way for Team Delaware to win?
It's very possible. Honestly, I just think from a pick and ban perspective, Delaware won this. They got the counter pick in the top lane. They got a pretty safe mid lane matchup with the Akali into the Zoe. And honestly, I just think their team has the better fight engage. And we've seen that normally play to a team's advantage so far this tournament.
Right. I can definitely agree with that. Now, Team Iowa. Your Team Iowa's coach. Craft a game plan for them.
I think the game plan is... I'm at somewhat of a loss because I'm not too familiar on how Lilia mid plays out. But it's not like Shen is going to be doing a ton of damage. So I don't know how their comp mixes that much because I guess they kind of have like a duo assassin dive comp because Kayn and Twitch can somewhat get to the backline fairly easily. But I just don't see a ton of team synergy in their comp as a whole.
Maybe that's the comp that they're going for, because if you take a look at it, all these champions create chaos. Twitch, Lilia, Kayn, Shen, and Zoe. Shen is the least chaotic of them all. Not Zoe, Thresh. I apologize. Shen and Thresh.
Yeah, it is a pick comp for sure.
Yeah, Shen's definitely a champion that can cause a lot of problems on the backline now, with flash taunts and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Twitch, Lilia, and Kayn are going to be running all over these fights. So maybe their comp is actually just absolute and utter chaos, and they just want to brawl constantly. That's what it looks like to me, at least.
Yeah, I think they're definitely looking to snowball an early lead, because early game Kayn is a lot stronger than early game Sejuani.
I think the biggest issue between these teams is that Team Delaware has a pretty similar comp with slightly better engage tools. However, none of these teams have sort of like any poke, on either side. So sieging is going to be something that is going to be at a minimum. And when you have two teams that are the same comp that want to be running and mashing into each other, that's not great when one of these teams has a skill disparity between the other.
Yeah, neither team really has a ton of wave clear inside their kit, so being able to try to fall back in a worst case scenario and try to minimize your damage is going to be pretty difficult.
I can agree with that. And it looks like everybody is saying that the Delaware Guard has won the draft. 60%. The poll has ended, so Delaware apparently getting the better of the draft here. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but
I mean, Iowa kind of walked in saying they were going to troll the draft with their bans. So
They did. They did walk in. They did troll the draft. But they are definitely ready to play the game, and they are ready and raring to go. So it looks like we might be getting into the game shortly. All right, Connell. How long do you think this game's going to last? Do you think the perfectly engineered Scuff League Corn is going to come away with a win?
This game could be an extremely short game if Iowa just gets an early lead and runs away with it. I think if Delaware can maintain the early aggression and push for something late game, they have a slight advantage. Because Ash is going to outdamage the Twitch. Akali is always going to do some insane bursts and kind of match Zoe in that respect. And Darius
it's not
is
Zoe, it's a
insane.
Lilia, but...
Right.
All right.
Lilia.
Looks like we are indeed into the game here as we see Team Iowa getting really aggressive here. Raheen coming out of the shadows to put a couple hits down onto Louie Gee. Oh, a flash hook attempt did not quite land. I like the moxie out of Team Iowa. They're coming in hard and fast. They are trying to make things happen early on. I like that. That's, that the aggressiveness is good. It didn't pan out, but the aggressiveness is good. Team Delaware might be shaking to their boots right now. Well, if you didn't know that Team Iowa was Mastery 7 on all of their champions, now you know. In the words of the great notorious B.I.G., if you don't know, now you know. That was B.I.G., right?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm like almost certain, but like I'm always like super afraid that like maybe I get one of my references wrong and then just look like a fool.
Yeah, no, I really like this aggressive start from Iowa. I mean, it costs Fresh's flash, and there's a good chance for that to get punished early. But I like that they're trying that hard to get some kind of an advantage.
I don't think there's going to be any punish here. You can see how far away the bot lane of Louie Gee and TheSillyDuck is, just by looking at the mini-map. Last Spartanman getting some pretty good trade onto Dream to me, and it looks like they are just going to give that wave priority to Team Iowa. I dislike that kind of move. Level 2, I think, is one of the best power spikes in the game for any bot laner.
It is, but if you know you're not going to win the 2v2, because Rakan really doesn't get any kind of spike from level 2, he really needs his full kit to be effective. And Ash really needs her ult for she's super effective in teamfights either.
Level 2, nice two-man play there, and there's the hook down onto the Rakan. He's going to be taking at least a couple of auto attacks worth of damage, a nice expunge there. We'll take him down to about half, and that's the risky run by giving up the wave. I think they are a little intimidated by the rank difference here.
And the champion difference. They just have the more aggressive bot lane that you can play here.
Well, Ash has a lot of really, really good poke, so I'd like to see this Ash kind of, make some more poke happen, as we do see an invade here from Zhadox, and Sejuani is right around there, but it looks like we won't see a fight here. Zhadox should be safely getting these chickens. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Iowa has rotated over to cut off any potential fight as they continue on the hunt for the Sejuani, but Tourney will be able to get away. We did see a lot of trading down in the mid lane, and it looks like Dream to Me had gotten the better of last Spartanman here. Interested to see if Dream to Me is going to be able to close out on the kill here. That would be huge. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Zhadox in a lot of trouble. He does have to burn the flash. The Ignite was burnt by the Rakan. Good summoner trade there. Looks like Firelight might be trying to make a play onto Dream to Me. Throws a blind hook over the wall, doesn't find anybody. So a nice job of Team Delaware of rotating around and preventing Zhadox from getting any more value out of this jungle invade.
Yeah, so Lily in that situation needs to push Akali under her tower and get her to a situation where she can't follow her. Because she's just going into the jungle to back up her Kayn, but she doesn't push the wave in hard enough, so then Akali can just follow her, and Akali's just going to out-trade her in close quarters.
Dragon Prince getting some nice trading down onto Kuzko. Yeah, nice, the good stuff to see out of here. Darius the lane bully doing lane bully things.
Yeah, it's very nice to see. This is how you want to play it. I'm a little surprised that the Darius went for the teleport instead of the ghost, because they could have really pushed that advantage.
I didn't even went for an ignite. Maybe you're in a scenario where you realize that you are considered the underdogs, and maybe you want to take a nice little aggressive summoner to try to maybe get some kills in lane. Looks like there might be an attempt to gank top lane. Meowgie has gone through The Baron Pit has gone through the try. A nice pull there in by Dragon Prince. Meowgie can't quite land the knockable. Take a tower shot for the troubles, but Lord Kuzko will get out of there. Meanwhile, Firelight will land pretty nice hook onto the Silly Duck. Nice flay there as well by the Thresh. Silly Duck doing a good job of weaving in and out of Zircon. He will take a lot of damage though. That expunge going down one more time. And Kuzco getting low once again is now stunned under the turret. Meowgie does take 2 more turret shots there. That was a flash burnt by the Sejuani as well. Not really worth it.
It should hopefully force... Well, no, they're not even forcing Shen out of lane because they're both backing now. So yeah, that really was very misplayed.
Yeah, Louie Gee, I like the little poke down. You know, I see you out here with the lethal tempo procs. You know, that's getting in there, getting a little scrappy early on in the game. That's what you like to see.
Oh, another invade on the side of Kane.
Yeah. Looks like Dream to Me might be on the wrong side of the tracks now because the Kane was in Dream to Me's own jungle. Once the engage, here comes the Kane. Eep, watch out. Lands putting a little bit of damage on. Dream to Me luckily is able to get out due to the Shroud. That Veil of Shadows does take a little bit of damage and might have to get pushed out of lane, but they are conceding a lot of jungle pressure here as Zhadox is just absolutely everywhere right now. Meowgie finds Zhadox, but can only find Zhadox, taking the last chicken, and Meowgie has to run down to full level and is getting absolutely chased down here by Zhadox, going through all the walls. Here comes Firelight. Here's a nice 3v2 in favor of Team Delaware, and now all of a sudden it looks like Zhadox can't get out, but a nice lantern throw. The hook can't quite land, but a nice dark passage there to get Zhadox out of trouble. The over-aggressiveness has costed Zhadox a little bit in the early game, but he's been bailed out by himself and by his Thresh.
Yeah, but ultimately, them going even with these aggression plays to Delaware's favor.
Oh, Zhadox is back in again, and Meowgie did land the smite. Nice job there, but is now in a lot of trouble. Zhadox looking to close out on this kill. Does get ignited. The first blood goes over the Thresh. The Strand United is on top of Zhadox. So here comes Shen. He lands the taunt. Down he goes. Zhadox is going to get the kill onto the Silly Duck. Now Dream to Me is in the middle of 3, but does get the kill back down onto Zhadox. Meanwhile, we did see Louie Gee also go down on the back end of that fight. The Twitch picks up the kill there. Dragon Prince is going to have free reign on this top tower, though. Look for him to get a plate, maybe 2.
That was an incredible Shen ult. That completely turned that fight around and kept Kane alive into that fight. I'm honestly a little surprised that Shen was able to hit level 6. But again, if Sejuani and Darius had better played their 2-man attack onto the top lane, Shen doesn't hit level 6 in time for that fight.
Absolutely, I agree with that. That's a very, very good point you made there. We do see both teleports getting burnt from the top laner and mid laner of the opposing sides. Delaware's mid laner burning the teleport to get back. And Dream to Me is looking to take some advantages here in the mid lane against the last Spartanman who accidentally took a tower shot. Here comes the ultimate down from the Lilia, and now the Akali a little bit drowsy, a little too tuckered out after teleporting all the way over and, putting some damage down using her abilities. She went to take a small nap instead of trying to close out a kill on the Lilia.
Yeah, I still don't really understand the Lilia mid pick because it has just been getting outplayed by this Akali.
Aggressive move there by Dream to Me. Does take a tower shot, but do like the damage they put down, and they should have full control of the mid lane right now. Very, very good stuff from Team Delaware. They are down early. They are hanging around. They're not getting completely blasted like I thought they would.
Yeah, it's not an insurmountable advantage that Iowa has at this point, and honestly, I was kind of hoping Iowa...
Oh, the Silly Duck is on the wrong side of the tracks. An excellent flay over the wall. The Death Sentence does pull him over that wall. Yes, that is a thing he can do, and most people don't know about it. Raheen is going to pick up the kill onto the Silly Duck. Now, Dream to Me trading back and forth with Last Spartanman. Dream to Me getting the good side of all of these trades. Raheen is right in front of Louie Gee. Louie Gee is now slowed and a lot of trouble. The spray and pray goes down. The flash, the expunge, the last tick will take him down. Raheen picking up another kill. He's 3-0-1 right now, and that could spell doom for Team Delaware.
Man, I really just caster curtsed the crap out of Team Delaware there.
We did. We both did. Dream to Me is in a bad way right here. Nice job dashing through the Kane. Kane flashing forward, trying to get the skill. Now here comes the ultimate down inside Dream to Me. Dream to Me can't quite live. And an excellent tank job there by Last Spartanman, tanking the hit so Zhadox did not have to. And Team Iowa gets away from that mid-dive from 2 towers cleanly.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Kane. He can pick up the tower aggro, drop it with his ultimate, and since the teammate is willing to come up and pick it up for him, he's able to get away cleanly. That was very well played.
I hate that. I hate that ultimate so much.
You can do it with Camille too.
The most annoying thing ever. The Umbral Trespass is just so strong. Do you see Dragon Prince though? He's got a nice CS lead over Lord Kuzko, and he looks for an engagement here on Kuzko. 1 or 2 more auto attacks might do it. He does get taunted. Now in the bot lane, Meowgie does land that Glacial Prison, but the cleanse by Raheen, it's a nice one there. No further engagements, although it looks like the Sejuani is still sticking around the bot lane, but it looks like she is... No, she is coming back around. Meanwhile, Dragon Prince is salivating right now. He has that ultimate. He just has to put a little bit of damage onto Lord Kuzco, and he should be able to get this kill. But I would be afraid of the taunt. The Apprehend does not quite land. Neither does the Decimate, and here comes the taunt down onto Dragon Prince. Dragon Prince didn't take any tower shots there, but Kuzco put some damage on. Now in the bot lane, it looks like the Ash Arrow did land onto Raheen, who did not have the cleanse, but now he's spraying. The Stand United is on the Twitch, and now the TheSillyDuck is running for his life, but he does go down. Meanwhile, the Sejuani will stun up Firelight, but it's not going to matter. Firelight, can you hit the hook onto Louie Gee? The Ignite goes down, the Flake goes down.
Oh, the
stopwatch goes down, but Raheen is going to die, and so is Firelight! Oh no! The Shen was too afraid to tank there. I guess did not want any part of that turret. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Lilia solos the Akali. Dream to me, I thought they might have had the advantage in this mid lane, but it turns out it was advantage Lilia instead. They might have gotten ganked. Here comes Zhadox into the top lane. The Lilia is on the way as well, and Zhadox is looking to take down the Dragon Prince. The Umbral Trespass going down. It does so much damage. Last Spartan Man's going to pick this one up, and even though Team Delaware did get those 2 kills in the bot lane, it looks like it's getting worse and worse for them.
Yeah, it's a crucial shutdown onto the Twitch, and it does get hit over to the Yash, which is very nice. I'm really disappointed with the Darius play there, because he backs off from the aggression of holding Shen under his turret, and gives Shen the time to channel his ultimate. If Darius steps up and flays him away, once again, the Shen doesn't get to that fight.
Nice flay down there, and Dream to Me in trouble. The hook had not been thrown yet. Almost lands, but I think Dream to Me might die here. Not quite sure if 6 stacks of poison is going to be enough. It looks like it won't be. Very, very well played out of Firelight.
Yeah, this is the kind of Thresh that you love to watch in action.
Fan of it right now. You know me. Big Thresh guy. Love me some Thresh.
Yeah, watching a great Thresh player.
It's a minion, but I think it was all an elaborate ruse as Meowgie is in a lot of trouble. The auto attack goes down. Could not get the expunge. Was out of range. And a nice dark path. Ooh, nice job there! What an apprehend by the Dragon Prince. The dunks, baby. Taking out that Lilia. This Darius might start making some plays soon. I don't know, man. I think he might be able to do something.
He's got the Black Cleaver finished. Shen is rushing a Titanic Hydra, or at least he has a team after wave clearing. I don't know if he's going to turn that Sterix Gauge into the Hydra immediately or not.
Constant counter jungling out of Zhadox here, just impressive stuff. Meowgie with the sweeper, but walks too far forward, gets knocked up, flayed, hooked, has nowhere to go, very low on HP. One more auto should do it. The auto expunge will do it, and now Zhadox continuing on the chase, tried to put some more damage in. The TheSillyDuck and Louie Gee are in a very precarious position. They're on the very left side of their tower that is no longer standing, and an absolute decimation of that bot lane turret in 13 minutes. And it looks like Iowa's not done yet. As Dream to Me, it looks like they are going to get dove on. Zhadox can't determine whether or not Wolves is more worthwhile. Eep, watch out, does a lot of damage. Another knock-up in Zhadox. Very, very clean stuff out of Team Iowa, as we expected all game long. Meowgie tries to put some more damage down on the last Spartan Man, but it's not going to matter. And Team Iowa, oh, and looks like 2 more kills here. Yep, Raheen gets 2, dies to the turret. Now Kuzco's in a lot of trouble here. All Darius needs to do is hit a dunk, but he doesn't have it, but 1 more auto attack will do it anyway. Nice job there by Dragon Prince getting a kill back, but even though it looked like a pretty even exchange, Team Iowa still has firm control of the map and the gold lead.
Yeah, Iowa's got a huge advantage right now. Sejuani needed to realize that she doesn't control her bot side of the map at all. The only place where she's even a little safe is her top side jungle, because Darius is the only winning lane right now.
The mid turret going down as well. Last Spartan Man getting a lot of gold for that. We do see these items begin to take shape. The Thresh has gone for the Shurelias, I like that. I'm gonna chase down the pretty immobile Ash here, and it looks like that item is going to wreak havoc on Team Delaware's hopes. They are hanging in though, you know, by at least by kills. You know, I think I expected them to be down a little bit more at this point. The gold is not surprising. The kills are.
Yeah. All things considered, Delaware's honestly not doing a terrible job of holding them off. They do have 7 kills. 2 of them on the Twitch have both been shut down gold-based. And the Darius isn't doing that bad for himself overall. There's still a chance for him to crawl back into this.
I think that might more so be a case of Team Iowa kind of, you know, playing super aggressive because they feel like it and because they can, as opposed to, you know, them, Team Delaware making really, really good plays. Not saying that they're not, and this is a nice apprehend onto the Twitch, but an excellent dark passage there. Gonna avoid the Darius Decimate. That could have been a lot of damage and a lot of healing onto the Darius. This turret is dangerously low, about 10%. Another nice hook, and the Darius is running away. The spray and pray doing a lot of damage. The expunge as well. Raheen just barely gets out. He's taking more damage from the turret than anything else this game.
Beautiful.
Meanwhile, Zhadox in a lot of trouble. The Umbral Trespass puts him toward the wall though, and he's gonna be able to walk away. Riot, what were you thinking when you made this champion?
Yeah, it's kind of sad that the 3 of them can't burst down that cane faster when they have him CC locked through the Sejuani charge.
Another nice putting on a clinic right now. Dragon Prince has no more cooldowns, and down he goes. Firelight getting that one. Well deserved, I might add. An excellent job. Put so many death sentences together. It was pretty much a 5-paragraph essay.
Yeah, Darius holding off as best as he can in a 2v1 scenario, and he does pretty well there. But again, I don't know why nobody else is coming to back him up there, because if somebody else helps him out there, he was able to take them both on to a pretty decent degree. If a Kali roams up there, they might be able to turn something.
I would agree, however, they did just go and, you know, harass the Cane quite a bit, and I thought maybe they were going to try for that dragon if they had taken out the Cane. Really surprising, though, is that Team Iowa has opted not to go for any of the objectives so far. 16 minutes into the game, no Rift Heralds have been taken, no Dragons have been taken. So if you are interested in a very high-level macro play, this is not the game for you. But if you are interested in an absolute brawl, you'll love to see it. Zhadox going in the middle of 2 members of the enemy team. This Darius is going dangerously low. The Umbral Trespass. Darius flashes in, does land a dunk down. Here comes the Stand United down onto the Twitch, but it's not going to matter. The Shen is not going to show up for the fight, but Firelight is going to keep this fight going. Landed a pretty nice hook there, and it looks like they will take down the mid-inner turret. Another hook by Firelight. God, I can only say the same thing so many times before it becomes overly repetitive. Firelight, please. Ooh, nice dodge there by Zhadox, but it's going to hit Firelight. Is Firelight going to be able to live? He's on a sliver. The Akali flashes forward, gets the last auto attack, and gets the kill. Zhadox left his teammate out to dry by, getting hit by that enchanted crystal arrow, but now Zhadox looking to find Dream to Me. Oh, this is a great Lilia ultimate. No, Dream to Me had gone in, but fell asleep over the wall. Got a little too tuckered out. Now the last Spartan man is diving Louie Gee, but gets apprehended and decimated. Louie Gee is the one with the kill there, but Team Iowa just absolutely runs ramshackle over Team Delaware.
Yeah, this has become a very chaotic game of just, we see the enemy, we go in. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason or strategy to it.
You know, I can't say that I've been on the receiving end of 5, you know, genetically engineered cobs of corn chasing me down through my jungle, knowing exactly where I am everywhere. This season of Scuff League bots, these Scuff League bots that just came out right now that they genetically engineered are absolutely excellent. I want to know what kind of API these guys used.
I don't know, whatever it is, I want some.
Yeah, right. Like, can you like teach me how to do this? Can you just like inject these players, these bots, quote unquote, these genetically engineered corn skill into my brain so I can win some more solo queue games? Because it looks like Team Iowa is finally sick and tired of not playing the objective game. They are attempting to go for this dragon. It is a 5v2, however. Dream to Me does come over the wall trying to get down on the back. Oh, wow. Look at you, Meowgie. getting the steal, but now Meowgie is in a lot of trouble. Facing down 3 members of the enemy team. The Umbral Trespass, Raheen is going to get the kill down onto Meowgie. Meanwhile, on the back end, it's a 3-man Lilia Sleep, a 3-man Shen Taunt, and the Children of the Corn are just running down Team Delaware. Dragon Prince, he's in the middle of 4 corn stalks, and he goes down. That is an ace for Team Iowa.
Yeah, huge prop to Sejuani there for hopping over the pit and being able to secure the dragon.
Nice
but
play.
then she looks back and realizes nobody on her team has a dash into the pit except for the Akali, and the Akali just wasn't willing to jump in.
Yeah, and the Akali did finally jump in, and he got just completely destroyed for it and had to immediately go right back out. And, you know, I think that play would have been a little bit better for Team Delaware had they just taken the dragon steal and then just gotten out.
Yeah, that might have been the plan at one point, is maybe to just abandon Sejuani, but you can get quite an adrenaline boost when you see that the dragon's been stolen.
Absolutely. You know, you get that dragon steal and then you think, you know what, guys? We might be able to do this. And then one person goes down, and then I want to talk about that 3-man Shen Taunt into the Lilia Sleep.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was excellent. The CC might have been layered a little too thick, and that it, you know, didn't really, you know, overlap too much, but it overlapped a little bit and just enough. I do think that Lilting Lullaby is a really, really strong ability. Not sure if she hit them with a Watch Out Eep or with maybe a Swirl Seed, but overall just a great team fight from Iowa. That's when you see plays like that, it just makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, this is kind of a master course on how to play Lilia, because she's one of those, oh, we got a little bit of a problem there.
Oh, Dream to Me has had enough. Realize that 2-5 and 0 and 101 CS and a Gunblade is not going to do it, and they had enough, but they have returned. And they have had enough once again.
Oh, you hate to see it happen.
You know, it's a case of you take a look at the game state and you decide, you know what, I don't want to play this game, so you leave. And then you come back, and then you come back, and then you come back 5 minutes later, and you know, 5 seconds later, and you're like, you know what? Maybe the game state changed. You know, it's a little like if you close your eyes, it's not there. So they reconnected and then determined, yep, still bad, and they left again. But then they came back because they were like, you know what? I came to rep Team Delaware. I came to play. I'm gonna play.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is kind of sad to see somebody having connection issues, but luckily she is back in the game and wasn't sitting out for a bit.
Now, like we mentioned, this is where Team Iowa struggles in terms of sieging. However, what they don't struggle in is a 1-3-1 of Shen, Lilia, and then you have Twitch, Thresh, and Kayn in the middle lane. And you can kind of have Kayn roam back and forth. Maybe somebody steps out a little bit too far. So at this point in the game plan, Kayn is not really doing all too much. It's a lot of damage down onto Dream to Me. I think it was like 2 auto attacks, taking half of their HP. And, oh man, like, I hate Akali as much as the next guy, but I don't envy anybody who's been crit twice. Nice hook, once again, by Firelight, going over the wall. Meowgie is going to get out of there, does land a facial prison, and now another hook from the Thresh. The summons on Darius, he does apprehend, and now they're in the middle of 3. This is an excellent fight for Team Delaware. Firelight, though, just barely get away, and the Stand United had gone down, preventing any further deaths, so it ends up just being a 1-for-1 as Firelight did burn away from the Ignite. But what looked like such an excellent fight from Team Delaware, it was a 4v2, and then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, 2 more members for Team Iowa show up.
Yeah, I mean, sieging becomes a lot easier when you actually successfully bait them into engaging on you.
Looks like, well, Sejuani was in the thick of things, but wasn't doing all too much there. Twitch chilling out, popping out of invisibility, and the siege continues.
Yeah, the really crazy thing to me about Iowa's comp in general is they picked a lot of champions that you have to...
Dream to Me in a lot of trouble. Nobody can find her, but there's so much AoE abilities on the side of Team Iowa. So strong. Wow, man, that Blooming Blows just did so much damage along with the Kayn Q, and it didn't matter that Dream to Me was completely shrouded with all these AoE abilities.
Yeah, that's just some beautiful positioning from Iowa so that nobody gets caught out in that engage.
looks like Team Iowa might head back over to the Dragon just because, well, it looks like there's nothing else to do right now for them. I anticipate they'll probably go after Baron at some point soon, as the gold lead is absolutely massive right now. We haven't really talked about that. It's 16k!
Yeah, it is kind of an insane gold lead, especially when you consider it's 1-1 in Dragons. But it all comes down to the fact that Twitch has 12 kills.
He's absolutely huge. He's got 3 full items if you don't count boots, and a serrated dirk, compared to the 2 items of the Ash. And, I mean, he is an absolute monster. If you take a look at the CS as well, the numbers, you know, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for Delaware. You know, 211 on the side of Twitch compared to 146 on the Ash. 233 and the Akali. Oh, it was a great prediction there by Lord Kuzko, landing the taunt down onto Dream to Me in the Veil of Shadows, but she's getting chased down. The flash comes out, the ignite comes out, and a little bit more damage is enough. Now another taunt onto the Darius. Another challenger approaches, but he's in the middle of 3 members of Team Iowa, and that's not where you want to be. He does trade back down onto the Lilia, so a nice job there of turning what could have been an absolutely disastrous engagement into getting a kill. Raheen has found Meowgie. He is stealthed. He is electing to just ignore Meowgie and push the wave in. I don't necessarily hate that. Firelight is on his way down, does take the blast cone over the wall. Is he going to hit the fly? Nope. He does elect to wait till the Rakan dashes away, but now this Sejuani on the wrong side of the tracks does regroup with the team. The hook does not come down, and now it's a 4v2 as Dream to Me is back up, but the Stand United comes down on the Twitch flashing forward. He does an absolute obscene amount of damage. He's going to pick up a kill, and Lord Kuzko is going to pick one up as well. And now Team Iowa knocking on the doors of these Nexus turrets. Raheen is just standing right near the fountain, pops out, wants to get a bunch of damage down. Yep, there's the Shen taunt. It lands on the 2 people. Raheen is completely safe in this fight and is pushing Team Delaware into their fountain. They have nowhere to go. Dragon Prince can't do all too much. Dream to Me gets hooked into the fountain. Dragon Prince dangerously low. He's in the fountain, but the healing will just barely be enough. Dream to Me gets hooked again.
This is just bullying at this point.
Of just teetering on the edge of the fountain. And another hook by Firelight, and Team Iowa is just having their way with Team Delaware. The first Nexus turret goes down. The second Nexus turret is going to go down shortly. The minions are working on it. This is a pretty nice engagement from the TheSillyDuck. He's going to land some taunts down onto everybody. Dream to Me trying to find damage on Raheen, but Dream to Me is now in the middle of 4 members of the enemy team. Raheen gets the kill. Raheen is still alive, does get hit by the Glacial Prison, and Kane had gone into the fountain and does pay for it. 2 sleeves going down, and an apprehend pulls Lilia into the fountain, and Delaware has the 6th member of their team, the Fountain Laser, helping him out here. The second Nexus turret goes down as well, though, and I'm not sure. Maybe Iowa's going to try to end here? No, they'll elect it back.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad Iowa just got their teeth kicked in for being kind of cocky little jerks about this.
Oh, Louie Gee. Oh, Louie Gee. Adios, brother. Oh, Louie Gee's still alive. Wait a minute. Oh, this is excellent team play out of Team Delaware here. And it looks like Raheen could be
just healing too much.
Does take down the Rakan, but a nice trade over. That'll go over to Dream to Me. Dragon Prince is now chasing down Firelight. Firelight doesn't have that much mana left, but had enough for a flay. Can Dragon Prince catch up? The Apprehend doesn't have the range, and he will elect to just put some damage down onto the minions and begin to clear some waves.
Yeah, Iowa's having a little too much fun there. They've given Delaware a spark of hope now. Their base is still standing, and they forced them to back away.
I don't know if I'd call this a spark of hope.
I mean, it's not a very bright spark. It's like the last match in the box, and it's, you know, half cut off. But you know, it is a spark.
I think it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like Team Delaware finally sees the light, and they're like, "Thank God, this game is going to be over soon."
Yeah, they see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then they walk into it, and they smash into a light tunnel painted onto the side of the wall.
One thing I wanted to note is that Firelight did get the top inhibitor, as well as the top turret. Team Iowa has taken every single turret. The only objective on the map is this Baron. The Dragon should be coming up fairly soon, 40 seconds. But, you know, there's 3 objectives on the map. The Dragon, going to be on the map. The Dragon in 30 seconds, the Baron, and the Nexus. Which one is Iowa going to go for?
I mean, really, they can just take whatever they want. Delaware's base is completely in shambles, and if they leave the base too harshly, anybody can just get into there and end the game.
Delaware did have an inhibitor respawn. All right, just need 2 more of those, and baby, you got a stew going. So we do see the double super minion waves beginning to push into the base. Now Louie Gee's going to have a pretty easy time clearing these, but Raheen is just going to open up on the enemy team. The Stain United had gone down. So now, this is a nice haunt onto the Darius. Raheen is just standing in the middle of a lot of damage, but it does not matter. He pumps out so much himself. Last Spartan Man's going to get the kill on the Dream to me. A nice decimate by the Darius, healing up for a ton, but it's not going to matter. Now it's just up to the Rakan and the Ashe. The Rakan goes down. The Ashe is the last person. The Fountain Laser helps him out again, getting the kill. The Ashe is resurrecting out of the GA. Another taunt goes down. Mr. Fountain Laser's got about 4 kills this game. 5 kills make it now. And the Nexus will finally go down, and mercifully, this game has ended. Team Iowa, the genetically engineered corn, has absolutely decimated Team Delaware.
Yeah, that was just Iowa demonstrating a masterclass on how to play high skill-based champions, because Perez, Twitch, and Lilia are not easy to pilot.
That was something. Let me tell you.
Something, all right.
Let me tell you when I say that was something. That was a game of League of Legends.
At the end of the day, Delaware put up a pretty good fight considering they were up against the highest tier team in the tournament. They fought back pretty hard. They got back some pretty kills. It was not the most one-sided game we've seen this tournament. And honestly, you got to give them some props there.
So you point out it wasn't the most one-sided game, but I want you to take a look at the gold graph. 67k to 49k.
I mean, we had a game earlier where a team only had like 3 kills.
11 turrets to none. That's a lot of gold.
It was a very one-sided game, but it could have been a lot worse.
I don't know. That just to me looked like Team Iowa just going in and just doing their own
Look,
thing.
Man, I know you love just stuck in the corn all day, but
I like doing what to the corn? What did you say, sir? You get fined, bro. That's an FCC fine. I like doing what to corn?
I think you love doing a lot of things, of course.
Get your mind out of the gunner. That damage chart was absolutely insane. That Twitch did so much damage, well over what? 50k damage, about 57k or something like that? 58.5k out of the Twitch. That is something else. Yeah, and we could see in that last game, Lilia did 23k damage. So that's like 2 Lilias right there. That's more than 2 Lilias. It's like 2.5 Lilias worth of damage coming out of that Twitch. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, just watching that Twitch fight that game really was a thing of beauty, because that was how to attack, move, and kite perfectly.
Yeah, and then eventually, later in the fights, he could just stand there with his tongue sticking out of his mouth, he just mowing everybody down. Because he was just absolutely just so strong at that point in the game. But I will say, Team Arkansas, not Team Arkansas. I'm sorry, that just came up on the graphic and tripped me up. Team Delaware did have a pretty decent showing. Had they played against not Iowa, it probably could have gone way better. Unfortunately, they did run into the buzzsaw known as the Iowa Kingslayers, and sometimes you just run into those teams, and sometimes you get steamrolled by them. I do think that Team Delaware is going to be a very formidable team. Seems like they like playing with each other, and their top laner is an absolute rock. I do think that he'll definitely be able to provide a lot of stability for Team Delaware. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in the actual season and how they play.
Yeah, they definitely played to their strengths of the top side to some degree, but I really wish I would have seen Sejuani trying to aid Darius a little bit more there. Nobody likes watching the jungler camp, but when your top laner is the one guy doing well on your team, you might want to give him everything you got.
I mean, so you could have the Sejuani help, but the Sejuani needed help themselves. They're just counter jungled absolutely every single game, and it was not every single game, but every single camp was pretty much taken. And you don't even need to take all the camps. You need to take a couple of the camps, because then that Sejuani will never feel safe in the jungle again. And once the jungler never feels safe in the jungle again, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and it definitely was a problem. That Kayn invading was perfect, and the fact that they had enough communication for that when the Kane got caught or got in any kind of trouble, his bot lane and his mid laner immediately were roaming in to help him out. Really shows that Iowa likes playing with each other and they had a strategy.
Yeah, I was happy to see both of these teams play. I do think that both of those teams are very, very solid. They will definitely be teams that we are happy to watch play in the future. So they do play pretty cleanly, but Team Iowa was it was exactly what we expected it to be. The 2 and the number 3 teams on the power rankings better take note because this team didn't get that number 1 ranking for nothing, and they showed it off right in that last game.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Although,
Team
speaking
Delaware
of,
isn't any slouch. They're one of the better teams in the league.
yeah, no, for sure. I completely agree. Iowa is the team you have to be watching with all eyes if you want to even kind of stand a chance when you have to face them later on in the tournament.
Absolutely. But we will begin talking about our last game for the evening, the Arizona Starfall and the Arkansas Sandsoldiers. I'm so tempted every time to say Arkansas just because I think it's funny. But I'm interested to see these teams play. One player I definitely want to look out for is Arizona's mid lane Swagnar. He definitely looks like he's their ace player, and excited to see what kind of picks he might bust out here today.
Yeah, we've seen him play before in scrims, I believe, and he put on an insane show.
I recall I watched him play one game, and I thought he was he's all right, and then I watched him play another game. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty good. He's all right. He plays League of Legends. He's a gamer, He's definitely a gamer. So
Yeah, you and me, I think, together watched that game because I definitely remember Wet Jenna Trolls being a name that popped up a lot.
don't remind me about that name.
Well, you're gonna have to say it again, so here we
No,
go.
no. They're just being called Jenna this game. They're just being called Jenna the entire time. I'm not saying that full name ever again. Not only is it a mouthful, but B, if you don't get it, just say it really, really slowly.
No, you just gotta put the pause in it really defined, like duck, hunt, dog, so you don't sound like you're saying something bad. Yeah. If you ever play Smash Bros, there's a very huge pause.
But I thought I did think about it for a second. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, if you ever play Smash Bros Ultimate, he takes a very long pause in between duck and hunt.
Duck, hunt, dog.
Yeah, he does it just like that, just to make sure it can't possibly sound like it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. So, taking a look at these teams, looks like I just mentioned previously, Swagnar is the guy to watch out for. Other than that, these teams it seem like they're pretty even. So if Swagnar is maybe having an off game, or Arkansas is able to kind of disrupt Swagnar through his champion pool, or they're forcing him into bad situations, we could have a very close game on our hands here.
Yeah, no, this should be a very close game. We've seen that Arizona's bot lane can get punished in the scrims with some of their picks. So maybe they've watched the vlog and they've adapted their strategies from that. But we'll definitely see what they've learned from the scrims and what they take into this game.
Absolutely. I do want to point out that from what I gathered doing my homework, Arkansas's players, they generally main the roles that they're going to be playing. So that's what you like to see when you have players that are playing certain positions in kind of leagues like this, that they're playing their main role. They're definitely going to bring it here, and we're not going to see any any off meta picks. I don't think out of those mains. Typically, you don't see that sort of thing unless you are a one trick or you're just absolutely insane as a player and just play pretty much whatever you want. So I am looking to see some pretty positive impacts from all of Team Arkansas, as they definitely can hold their own. They in their respective lanes.
Yeah, but sometimes pulling out with a surprise pocket pick that nobody saw coming and they don't know how to play against can completely turn an entire game for you. So I think you gotta watch out for that.
I agree with that. The Twitch was an interesting one.
Yeah, no.
So I am interested to see what Team Arkansas is going to pick today. their champion lists, none of them are super surprising. I'm not expecting any crazy things. Their top laner does apparently play Kale, so that would be a nice pick to see. Their jungler does play a little bit of Rengar, a nice aggressive jungler that can really insta-gib somebody from 100 to 0. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Could see a potential Fizz come out of their mid laner.
There's
And
a huge curse picking Rengar in NA, so I would advise him against doing that.
NA Rengar, baby, NA Rengar. Arizona also doesn't really have too many surprises. It looks like their jungler is more so a support player. I'm not quite sure about that, but they've got regardless, they've got a huge jungle pool out of Team Arizona. Like if you thought that taking their jungler out of the game plan was an effective strategy, you better think again, because they can pretty much play League of Legends with a stick and a bowl of rice as their champion, and they'll be able to win some games.
A stick? A stick and a bowl of rice?
I mean,
you know what? Knowing Riot, that could very well be a champion in like 2 years.
welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Rice, the stick champ.
Hopefully we get a corn champ before we get a rice champ.
Oh my god. We already have our corn champs. It's Team Iowa.
I guess.
Looks like
yeah.
we have finally gotten into the pick and ban. Arkansas, with their first 2 bans, has opted for Swain Vladimir. Definitely champions that Swagnar plays. I think this is an excellent job. Team Arkansas has definitely done their homework. It looks like they'll ban the Zillion as well. All 3 bans going after Swagnar, it looks like. And I did my homework on Swagnar, and he plays those champs, and I'm really not sure what else he plays in the mid lane. Arkansas did an excellent job there. This might make him a little uncomfortable. We do see on the other side, Arizona has taken out that Mordekaiser and that Yasuo so far. The top laner and mid laner, they both ban Mordekaiser and Yasuo. And as we mentioned, the Rengar that we mentioned earlier is not going to be joining us for this game. But Team Arkansas, they will opt for their number 2 in Graves.
Yeah, I like the Graves pickup. That's a really strong jungler you can fit into basically any comp, and he's effective throughout the entire game. Graves is just an insane champion. But they do give up the Caitlyn in that exchange, and early Morgana pick.
Yep, and the TheVioletCap. I had you know me doing my homework, very studious. Looked at the TheVioletCap's recent games. They're not really too much of an AD carry player, but they have been playing a lot of Caitlyn and have been seeing some insane success. I mean, I think Arkansas was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. You want to take away the best champs for their ace player, which they did, but you're going to give over a champion to somebody who's been hot on it. They've been riding a really, really hot streak on Caitlyn, and I don't think that'll change today because they've got a lot of defensive insulation in the way of that Morgana pick, which Jenna does like, one of their top picks. On the other side, Arkansas has opted for Jax and Ashe. This is not all too surprising. Boogly does play a lot of Jax, and SamuraiDundee does have Ashe in their pool. And Team Arizona's jungler elected for a stick, but not the bowl of rice, but a man in a suit of armor in the way of Jarvan.
Yeah, I like Jarvan as a jungler pick. It's very clean early aggression. It's great team fight engage, and it's a nice strong tank body for your team. He also goes very well with Caitlyn because keeping them in the arena makes stepping on traps a lot easier.
Absolutely. Team Arizona, their first ban of Phase 2 is the Nautilus aimed at DamperA. DamperA is an alt player, does definitely play their fair share of Nautilus. Meanwhile, Arkansas has taken out the Malphite, aimed at untitled user in the top lane. And Arizona, with their final ban, has opted for Annie. So elemental style is definitely going to be on to pick 3 for them, and the Silas will be the final ban for Team Arkansas. Another mid lane oriented ban, and Swagnar, he's gonna have to go to option number 5 maybe this game.
Yeah, we'll see what he does eventually end up playing. They do have the final counter pick though, and I'd like to see them hold it for him. And it looks like they are going to do that when they pick the Alawi for the top lane. So I think that's the correct move.
Yep, that is indeed an Alawi pick. And I wonder if Arkansas is going to think twice about their bans. Maybe they shouldn't have been Alawi to pick her, but they do instead. Arkansas will elect for the Galio. That's a pretty solid pick up there. I think that's a mid lane Galio, elemental style, does definitely have access to Galio in their repertoire, and I think that's a really good pick, especially with the Graves and the Jax on your team. I really like that sort of thing. So we'll see what
Yeah.
Arkansas opts for their last pick here. A lot of options: Blitzcrank, Soraka, Leona, Pike. Looks like they went for the Blitzcrank. That's Damper's champion of choice, their support of choice. Can't say I'm too surprised about that.
I'm not too huge on picking the Blitzcrank into the Morgana, but if it is his big champion of choice and he feels comfortable with the matchup, then by all means go for it. And we do see the Orianna come out.
Well, you do have to remember after level 6, because that's when Blitzcrank gets his ultimate. His ultimate is a shield breaker. His ultimate destroys shields. So, you can throw the black shield onto somebody and just go in and use the Blitzcrank ultimate and immediately shatter the shield.
Yeah, plus Pole
Orianna
does have a shorter cooldown than Black Shield.
I agree. The Orianna pick I very much like. It's a champion that I think every mid laner should probably know how to play. With a player of Swagnar's caliber, it wouldn't surprise me if they've had quite a few games on the champion. And when a good player is on Orianna, they do a very good job of recognizing the way in which fights are going to proceed, and that will be huge in proper positioning for the Orianna ball in order to land some really, really big shockwaves.
Yeah, I really like the Orianna pickup. One, because I talked about how huge she's been this whole tournament so far, just in general. Two, having a Jarvan on your team with an Orianna is a really brutal combo.
Absolutely, I completely agree. These teams are gonna brawl this game. I like the picks from pretty much every team. The Blitzcrank pick, I think, is the wild card here, though. Damper is gonna have to do an exceptional job at landing these hooks onto non-black shielded targets and taking advantage of windows where the Morgana may not be around.
Yeah, Arkansas definitely drafted more of a pick and split push comp because Jax is one of the best split pushers in the entire game. And hopefully Graves is going to enable him to do that by giving him some aid in the early game against the Alawi. But if you get the Jax online and you get the Blitzcrank online making picks, then it really doesn't matter how strong the Jarvan Orianna team fight engage is, because they just won't have the team to back it up in the fight.
Remember the last time we saw a Jax, it absolutely ate the dreams of the enemy team. I can't remember which game that was, but it was a best of 3 scrim, and that Jax was absolutely insane, just absolutely destroyed an Alawi. So we do get to see another Jax Alawi matchup, but I think with different players this time.
Yeah, if you play top and you don't play Jax, you hate Jax. There is no middle ground there. He's either your worst nightmare or your best friend if you play top.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Jax aficionado myself. I do enjoy the champion. I'm not particularly good at the champion, but I enjoy the champion. I actually just learned the other day that you can cancel the counter strike early to hit the stun. I had no idea. My buddy was like, counter strike. I'm like, I'm doing it. He's like, hit it again. And I did. I'm like, oh, it still stuns. To be fair, I haven't played that champion in probably years before then, but I actually just never knew that. I thought that was part of the counterplay to Jax, is that you had to let it go off the entire time. And then I realized, wow, this champion's kind of busted that he could just stun at any time.
Jax having counterplay. You're hilarious.
Listen, man, he does have counterplay sometimes. I mean,
Very little.
He is strong, but
yeah, I don't play top. I can't deal with it. Just straight up, it is not my role.
Yeah, so you think Arkansas had an excellent draft? I think they did too. It looks like there's a current poll of who won the draft, and it looks like Team Arizona currently leads in the poll 75-25. Oh no, 60-40 now. I think Arkansas won in the draft simply because they banned out Swagnar. They banned out Swagnar, and we're going to see if it's going to have any impact. The Orianna was certainly not going to be Swagnar's first choice. So, putting them on a mid laner that they're not particularly, I guess you would say, fond of, it's not choice number 1, not choice number 2, not choice number 3, then can you say you're really fond of a champion?
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good job there. The only issue that I have is that I don't think that their team has the ability to take advantage of Orianna's lack of mobility. You could see, though, some good Galio taunts come down, and then maybe we're talking about some kills in the mid lane. But Graves doesn't provide any CC. The only CC is going to have to be provided by that Galio. It's going to be really, really important to not telegraph the ganks too much if any come in.
Yeah, they didn't build their comp around their mid lane champion. They built their comp around their Jax and their AD carry. They knew Swagnar was dangerous and they banned him out, and they put their mid laner on a champion where it's very hard for Swagnar to get any kind of in-lane advantage because the Galio is a tank. And he's just going to be relying on his team to carry him while he just provides taunts and shields and knockups.
Taunts and shields. Hey, it sounds a lot like Shen.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. A taunt, a shield, and an ability that can put you on any spot of the map that you want where you have an ally. I'm starting to believe that Shen and Galio might be the same champion.
I think you're onto something.
Riot, explain yourself. We have 150 champions and 151 champions, and I demand diversity.
I wouldn't threaten Riot. You never know what they're going to do
I'm
next.
going to write a strongly worded letter to Riot. Riot, as a customer who has spent over $1,500 on League in their lifetime. I demand some changes.
I don't think that makes you special. You've spent over $150.
Okay, then fine. I'll just buy as much 10-cent stock as I can.
Oh, come on. You need to take it there.
That's it. Hold on. I gotta check my TD bank. Wait 1 second. To see if I have enough to become a majority shareholder in Rito Games.
Yeah, good luck buying at 10.
Okay. Now we gotta see how much 10 cent is. Ideally, it'll be the same as its name, 10 cents. But I'm having some doubts about that. So let's see, 10 cent. Oh wait, 10 cent. There we go. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. I can get a couple. I can get a couple. Couple shares of 10 cent. Not too bad. Riot will pay for their crimes. They will listen to me. Like, hey, I just bought 10 shares of 10 cent, alright? Now, some ideas I may have about League of Legends. First and foremost, can we change these champions to have them be unique? Second of all, get rid of Kayn. Get rid of Evelyn as well. Get rid of pretty much every list champ.
Get rid of Zoe. That would be my first change.
Do people know about list champs? Does anybody know about the list? If you haven't heard the good word about the list, allow me a moment to pull up the list. The list. I think it's under the pinned messages in here.
Why do I have to commentate with the weirdest people?
Wow, thanks, dude. Appreciate it, you.
I've had to commentate with you and Mr. Suits over there.
Okay, so the list. This is what we call the list. The list was created by a D2 top laner in one of my other Discord servers that I'm in. And is don't ever play these champions. And here's the list. Imagine playing a list champ as BJ Kibbs knows. The list consists of Graves, which is a list champ already in this game. Evelyn, Quinn, Poppy, Malzahar, Annie, which was properly banned, Rek'Sai, Cassiopeia, Teemo, Urgot, Wukong, Veigar, Heimerdinger, Zoe, LeBlanc. I promise it's not the entire champion roster. Lulu, Akali, Fiora,
Can you promise me this is going somewhere?
And Alawi. And remember, don't play Evelyn. So, basically, Riot, you need to eradicate the entire list. Eradicate all of those champions. I don't know how many there were. Get rid of all of them, except for maybe LeBlanc and Veigar, because I love them very much.
Yeah, that's how I got out of bronze, was just hard spamming Veigar.
That champion's busted, dude. You have an outplay button, and it's like, great. Yeah, Zoe's on the list. Zoe's a list champ. Have you seen what that champion does?
Oh, thank God the game started. We can get out of this conversation.
Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?
I don't hate you.
That's it. I'm requesting a different caster next time, I swear. He hate me because he hate me, you know? Like, sorry, you're the second best caster on the cast, my friend. Ooh. I'm kidding. I love you. I love you, and I think you do a lot. All right. So, Invade out of Arkansas? Yeah, this looks like this is. You don't just go 5 people bottom and not in.
You don't go Blitzcrank and not invade bot side.
Yeah, you know, you do make a compelling point there.
Fortunately, Arizona sees it coming. That's
Yeah,
a really
that's
smart
that was
ward.
an excellent ward drop down, but I think it might have been by the TheVioletCap. It's an excellent over the wall ward. They spot out absolutely everybody. They're gonna split up. Jenna is in a spot where they probably shouldn't be, but is gonna be able to get out of it regardless. Nice ward going over the wall there. Teams trading wards. Nice. Ooh, I like that. Picked up the sweeper and is gonna clear out that ward. It's a pretty high level play, but you know, maybe it would have just been better off dropping the sweeper immediately. But I do like it. Good job clearing that vision out of there. I'm gonna make Team Arizona kind of second guess themselves a little bit, but Morgana has checked it out without any incident here.
I completely forgot you could just straight up buy sweeper at the start of the game now.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Sometimes you just gotta sweep the leg, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So they do get the invade and they get the deep ward in, so they know Jarvan is starting on his red. So I hope we see Graves take some sort of advantage from that and go straight from his buff maybe to Jarvan's blue. Because Jarvan's not heading straight to his other buff. He's heading maybe for a level 2 gank, so Graves could go for a pretty easy invade here if he wanted to.
He might predict that Graves is going to head to the blue and head to Graves and head to the blue side.
No,
That's warded. That's absolutely
invading.
warded, and he's going to start it, and he's got no idea. We see Graves just completed the chickens. Graves is going to walk right over. It's been pinged out. So I think Graves might be able to make something happen. That blast cone is still up. Is he going to be able to go over the wall? Oh, he put himself on the wrong side, but will run right into that Jarvan. Jarvan does have the double buffs, is running away, running toward his Alawi, has now elected to go in, does land the knockup down on to Inserrate, and Inserrate taken very low, will get away, but that is not how you want to start your jungle.
No, they got the invade and they even cleared their knowledge of that other side jungle, and yet he still gets outplayed on the roam of Jarvan early.
Yeah, it was just really, really smart play, heady play by CrashOverridee.
Yeah.
Also, pushing the Graves out is going to allow CrashOverridee to 3-buff this Graves.
Yeah,
that's something you don't see every day on
start.
no invade.
Yeah, that is a very excellent start for this Jarvan, and I really hope he finds a way to push his advantage early while he has those buffs.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He will definitely be a level up, and you know, once he gets to level 3, it's around prime gank time. If you're Jarvan, we do see the Arkansas bot lane's pushed up a little far, so Jarvan might be able to make their way down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Alawi kind of having their way with this Jax so far, has the wave entirely pushed in, up a little bit of CS. It's making it hard for the Alawi to farm, but that's okay.
Man, that is a beautiful dark binding.
Yep, a little bit of poke going back and forth, and it looks like Jarvan is ready to commit to go to the bot lane. One more binding should be able to put a damper on this one. And a nice hook there by the Blitzcrank, but they have no idea that here comes Jarvan. Blitzcrank is dangerously low. He will die. First blood goes over to the TheVioletCap, and now Dundee in a lot of trouble. The headshot went onto a minion instead of Dundee, but that does not matter as the TheVioletCap will pick up their second kill, a double kill. Elemental Style has landed a taunt onto Swagnar, but has elected to stop the fighting, as Inserrate did show up mid lane, but nothing else will happen there. And a very, very excellent gank coming out of Team Arizona. CrashOverridee with really, really good jungle pathing, and early on has out-jungled Inserrate.
Yeah, it's crazy that Arkansas's bot lane doesn't have a ward in their Tribe Rush or in their river, because Jarvan walks all the way around, and neither of them spotted out. Blitzcrank's making I can go in, but he doesn't have the vision up to know if it's a safe engage, and it ends up biting him.
Yeah, especially since you know that the Jarvan had taken your Graves' blue, and your team had not made a move on Jarvan's blue. So Jarvan has a reason to go to the bot quadrant of the map.
That's very true, yeah. And
So,
Galio warned them.
Yeah, did he? Looks
Yeah,
like
Galio pinged that that Jarvan was on that side of the map, so Galio knew what the rotation was there.
good map awareness out of Elemental Style, but unfortunately, poor team awareness out of Dundee and Damper. And here's the Inserrate trying to make something happen here in the top lane. And oh, this Alawi has been stunned up pretty hard. Flashes into the Graves queue, though. One more auto attack should do it. An Inserrate, after a pretty slow start, making their presence known in this game, getting a kill down onto this Alawi. The Alawi burned the flash. Graves burned his flash as well, but it looked like it was well worth it.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent move from Graves to not only get himself back in this game, but help his teammate Jax, who was struggling against that Alawi. The craziest thing to me, though, is he cleared the Alawi's ward in the river there. And Alawi just kind of stood there and didn't run away immediately.
Yeah, and look, an excellent move by Jarvan as he is going for that Infernal Drake. Did notice that the Graves was topside, had a pink ward, packed it in the lunchbox today, and it looks like they're going to be eating this dragon. A nice take there by Team Arizona. It's not that much early, only about 4%, but 4% extra damage is 4% extra damage. I'm not going to argue against it. Looks like Jarvan will clear out this pink. And maybe potentially looking for a dive bot lane as Swagnar has shown up. The ward has spotted out Swagnar though, and it just got cleared away. So Swagnar will head back to the mid lane, and Arizona has firm control of this bot lane still.
Man, I wish I could get these kind of junglers in my solo queue games. They see their opponent make a move, and they're already immediately pressuring in another lane. Jarvan sees the Grave and went top, he knows the dragon is free.
Absolutely, an excellent call there by CrashOverridee, the champion Ocean.
Beautiful flag and drag.
Nice, yeah, that was a nice flag and drag. Got taunted, but it does not matter. They were long gone after that taunt. And that's got to be frustrating if you're Team Arkansas. I mean, that's frustrating when I see somebody and they get away.
Yeah, he had to have timed that absolutely perfectly for the animation to go off right as the taunt comes out.
Inserrate back in the top lane. Untitled user this time sees him clear it out and
I was level 6 though.
Very well aware, yeah. Is now level 7, but did take a lot of damage from Inserrate. You know, certainly not a negligible amount of damage. But it looks like that'll be it as trying to get Boogly a little into the game here, but he's gonna have a rough time here. I think Boogly just has to play pretty safe. Looked for an engage onto Untitled user. Interesting decision when you're a level down, but I like the Moxie.
Yeah, not a bad trade for Jax at the end of the day there. Especially because he's got the Vampiric Scepter already, so he's going to be able to heal up off the minions. So even an even trade kind of plays to the Jax favor. And the Graves is back.
Yeah, he's back again. Nearsighted down onto the Alawi. The Alawi gets stunned though when she uses her ultimate, and nothing is going to happen. No tunnel, no tendrils smack down on anybody, and another excellent gank there by Inserrate through the ward. I don't know what Untitled user is doing, but they are not using their eyes.
Yeah, Boogly with an incredibly great timing on that counter strike to prevent any of the tentacles on her ult from smacking down. Because if she gets the healing off of those tentacles, she can completely turn that fight around.
Yeah, if the timing was any more perfect, he would have had a stopwatch in his inventory. That was excellently done there by BoogleyTheDragon.
Yeah. I like seeing Arkansas playing to their top side this heavily. They picked the Jax, they want to push the Jax to be one of their win conditions, and they're doing what they can to help him be able to carry.
Absolutely, and they identified quickly their win condition, and they've acted upon it, and they've done great at that. VioletCap, though, is very far ahead, and this bot lane will continue to get more ahead. Damper does land the hook, but the Black Shield will prevent that Morgana from going anywhere, and that is kind of what we expected coming into this game.
Yeah, but even though Alawi has died twice, she's beating the Jax somewhat significantly in CS gold here.
Yeah, that is a pretty big disparity. It's 16. The Jax does have a small edge in gold, only about 100, but you would have expected a lot more out of a kill and an assist Jax. Just goes to show how much CS can make the difference after all, and we see this bot lane. It's a 1200 gold lead for the Caitlyn. And oh, this is a nice command shockwave there. Elemental style with an excellent justice punch to avoid the cataclysm. Really, really well timed there. Unsure if that was luck, unsure if that was skill, but it was awesome.
It was once again the exact moment where it needed to go off in order for him to dodge
CrashOverride's at full HP though, and is going to chase down Inserrate. Here comes, oh, that's a nice
beautiful arrow.
Inserrate with a nice dash onto the Dark Binding by Morgana. And it looks like nothing doing here. Damper might try to land a hook. Oh, wow. BoogleyTheDragon wins the 1v1 of the top lane. Long have we awaited. The Jax is now activated and is able to solo kill the Alawi.
Yeah, beautiful holding off on the Black Shield from Wet Jenna to to put the shield on Orianna, because that's one of those situations where Blitzcrank can bait that he's going to pull for the Orianna and then pull for the Morgana. So her waiting to make sure she shielded the right target was really well played.
What I think is absolutely ridiculous is that Inserrate is a higher level than CrashOverridee. after the awful start that Inserrate had, and all of the thievery that CrashOverridee did, and that goes to show, I did mention earlier in the broadcast, as we do see Damper might try to put a damper on the TheVioletCap's parade here. Does not hit the knockup, does burn the flash though. So an interesting interaction there, no hooks thrown. If I were Blitzcrank, I'd want that one back, but I'll take the result.
Yeah, he just wanted to make sure that he got the walk-up knock-up, so that he gets the guaranteed pull with the off the knock-up CC. So I see why he played it that way, but yeah, it does cost them more of an advantage, but it does take the flash away from Caitlyn.
It looks like Graves has shown up to the party, is sweeping some wards out. There are no wards to be found. Damper's just got to land a hook on a non-black shielded target. I wonder if he can do it.
Down.
Oh, here comes. Oh no! The enchanted crystal arrow could not land. Inserrate goes forward, lands on the trap, takes a headshot, and the hook from Damper could not land. That is an unfortunate gank attempt there for Team Arkansas. They definitely took the negative into the trade.
Yeah, just a real shame that none of their engaged tools could land there.
Yeah, hit the uprights, hit the field goal on the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And week 1 of the NFL season, 19 kickers missed field goals, so maybe Dundee should be trying out for the NFL kicker position. That one was perfectly through the uprights. And Boogly having a grand old time at the top lane. Looks like he is firmly in control of that lane now, as we do see Team Arizona's superior macro play coming out. They take the dragon. Nice job there. Second dragon over for Team Arizona, and Ocean Drake is the Drake of choice for this game. And if you're Team Arizona, you are pretty excited about that. This is a nice flag and drag onto the Galio. He's not taking all too much damage. Does land the double taunt. Takes maybe about 20% HP, but gets the better of the trade between the 2v1 there, and a nice job by elementalstyle of getting out ahead in that trade.
Yeah, both teams tried to craft lanes that were very difficult to gank. Like, it's very hard to burst down Orianna or Galio for that matter, so it's really hard to get anything going in this mid lane.
CrashOverridee still at level 7 to the Graves level 8, and that's something I did want to point out before we had some action on the bot lane earlier. CrashOverridee plays a lot of support. They do play a lot of jungle, and they have a big jungle pool, but Inserrate's a jungle main, and there can be some slight differences there between how a player operates when they have a lead, or what they go into a game plan with when this person is their secondary role, but everybody's secondary role is not as good as their primary role, and that's the difference that we can see right here with Inserrate getting so far behind early, but now with the level advantage, and has really helped gain control of this game for their team, as they will come up top once more and clear a pink ward. Damper trying to make something happen. It's a really nice hook onto the Caitlyn, but the turret is not targeting Damper, and all of a sudden Damper is in a lot of trouble. Stepped into the trap, so the Caitlyn ult didn't necessarily need to be used, but the ace in the hole does go down, and they get the kill over to Damper. This Caitlyn, TheVioletCap now 3-0, and like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, TheVioletCap has been playing a ton of Caitlyn and has been seeing great success on it, and I am not surprised that they're 3-0 at this juncture. Oh, another dive attempt here, and this one will go the way of Team Arizona. Almost dying for it is CrashOverridee, but the TheVioletCap with the 4th kill of the game for them, the 4th kill for Team Arizona, and this Caitlyn is absolutely massive.
Yeah, the amount of CC and headshots you can line up with a Caitlyn Morgana is insane. You can put the up.
Blitzcrank and Graves, nice knock up there by the Blitzcrank. We'll get the kill and land the hook onto the TheVioletCap, and the TheVioletCap has nowhere to go, can't quite take down the tower. That's a fatty shutdown going over to Graves.
That's absolutely huge. That shutdown on the Caitlyn onto Graves, who was already kind of getting ahead off of the top lane matchup, is a huge turning point, because Arkansas is now ahead in kills. They're still a little behind on goal, but it's not a huge difference.
Yeah, that shutdown was huge because take a look at the gold difference between Caitlyn and Graves. It's only about 300 right now, and Caitlyn has so much CS, 120. The CS leader in the game. There's a big difference between the AD carries, but if Inserrate can keep Arkansas in the game until this Ashe gets the 2 items, then I think Arkansas will be all right. Do see that Mr. Dragon up in the top lane had a rough go at it against Untitled User, is dangerously low, taking more and more damage with each passing camera pan. And, you know, for somebody who I thought had firm control of the lane, they're certainly getting beat up. Elemental Style has now shown up to the party. This is a nice Justice Punch into a taunt, and now Untitled User might be in a lot of trouble, and they are taken down. This one goes over to Elemental Style, and the Tentacles almost smacking down the Dragon, but they won't quite be able to. And again, Untitled User just getting picked on all game long.
Yeah, Lau is one of the few champions in a lane scenario where Jax doesn't do so well just hopping in on them with his engage tools. Just because Lau can kind of tank the hits, heal off of her tentacles, and you really don't want to jump into melee range and give her a free pull of her sort of little soul stealing thing. I forget what the name of the ability is called, but it's really hard to win trades with her if she lands that on you.
Oh, Inserrate has found CrashOverridee. CrashOverridee has dropped the Cataclysm, but it gets absolutely destroyed. Swagnar now has to run away in the 2v1, will get away. It was an excellent Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming up from Dundee. A great job of using the ultimates and getting a kill onto that Jarvan. And I think I'm willing to say it might be jungle diff.
Yeah, no, this has been a jungling battle from the very start of the game, and I've honestly really been enjoying watching it.
Team Arkansas only down about 600 gold now, and they are down to 2 dragons. The first Ocean Drake of the game respawning in about a second. It is now up. What I did find puzzling was that after getting the kill on to CrashOverridee, that Team Arkansas did not opt for the Rift Herald. I think that was definitely a mistake, and it would have been an instrumental tool in getting them the dragon. So we see an engagement on the top lane here. We do see Boogly is trying to put a lot of damage down onto Untitled User, but the tentacles did come down. The leap strike, one last auto attack, and another kill going over to the Jax. It's only worth 176 gold because Untitled User.
Yeah, but now Jax has TP to the dragon fight and Alawi's out.
Yeah, Untitled User's been having a rough time. I'm not sure who's having more of a rough time, Untitled User or SamuraiDundee over here. So you see Team Arkansas does have full control of this Drake. They have pushed off Team Arizona. Is Override going to go for a steal? I think they are, but a nice job by Inserrate. He's got ice water in his veins. Does take the Drake. Now this Morgana did drop the Soul Shackles, did drop the Zonias, but Inserrate is cleaning up this fight. Dashes through, one more auto attack on the CrashOverridee should do it, and it does. But it does not matter, the TheVioletCap will get the kill. Oriana had done excellent work in the pit as well. That is a 4 for 2 in favor of Team Arizona, and that might be a little bit of a pick-me-up to get him back in the game.
Yeah, unfortunately the Jax TP came in really late there. He probably wanted to back and get his health bar full before he got to that fight. But unfortunately, the engage is struck down before. Maybe if Arkansas holds off on starting the Dragon for another second to allow Jax to heal back up and get to that fight a little quicker, they could have turned that around and make it a 4 for 5. But Jax not showing up means that even killing Alawi top was completely pointless.
With a lot of damage down on the Swagnar. Swagnar takes a third shot. You know, while that fight didn't necessarily go the way of Team Arkansas, I think it was a necessary evil. You don't want Team Arizona getting that third Drake, putting them on soul point. That would have been horrifying for Arkansas. So while the fight didn't necessarily go their way, I still think because they took that dragon and interrupted Arizona's potential soul, that they retain a lot of tempo on the map.
They definitely do, but it cost them a bit of the lead that they had gained from that from the Blitzcrank and Graves play in the bot lane.
Yep, I do agree, as this gold lead is just about 2k in favor of Team Arizona, but this Jax is really, really getting big. He did opt for the Executioner's Calling. I don't think that's a bad decision, especially since Alawi can heal for a lot. But that will prevent him from getting a Trinity Force pretty quickly. Team Arizona is knocking on the door, and they knock the door down. They do take down that first outer mid turret. And it looks like they do have the inside track to maybe harass Graves a little bit, but Graves is going to... Oh, no, he's going to get engaged on, actually, finally. So it looks like Crash Overdrive will land that Cataclysm, but the Graves will be able to dash it casually over the wall. Does burn the Caitlyn ace in the hole as well. I think Team Arizona was a little too slow on trying to pull the trigger. Whoa, the pathing out of Swagnar is not swag right there. As Swagnar will have to run away. He is dangerously low, but Inserrate isn't done yet. Oh no, he overcommitted, and the TheVioletCap is going to pick up their 7th kill of the game. Meanwhile, Boogly, who has no HP, is engaging onto Untitled User. A little suspect there. It's a little sus. It might be a player in Among Us, because that was definitely a little sus. But they don't necessarily get punished for it quite yet. We'll see how that top lane engagement develops within the coming seconds.
So I want to pull some attention towards the Orianna build because she finishes the Manamune.
Here comes Boogly, and Boogly, a trade there. Not worth it all. 475 gold to Entitled User and only 176 for the Jax. Definitely not worth it all, baby. That's No, it's not where you want to be. It does reset Alawi's gold counter, but it does get Alawi a lot closer to that death stance that they're looking to build into.
Definitely not the trade you want to take when you're up in the kill difference, especially when the Alawi had 5 deaths already going into that fight.
Yeah, it just gives a lot more gold in the pocket of Team Arizona. They now have almost a 4K lead. It's about 3.5K. We do see some wards being cleared out on both sides.
So I wanted to point out that the Orianna is going straight for the Def Cap for her second item instead of going for the Yandri's Torment, which is a little different from the normal build. Granted, there aren't any like super tanky bodies on Arkansas's side that you need to be stacking up those passive that passive burn against. But I'm still not entirely sure if that's the optimal move because she's only amplifying her AP with a Def Cap off of her Archangel staff. She's got nothing else to amplify it off of. So even when it's finished, it might not end up being as efficient as just the Yandris would be.
Well, I do think that Rabadon's Death Cap is just a stat stick. You know, it just gives you a bunch of magic damage, and it's oftentimes the item of choice when it comes to item 2 for most mid laners. So I actually do like the move. Just giving yourself a bunch of AP, because especially in a close game like this where you still do have a gold lead, I think you want more burst damage to really try to pull this game a little bit further in your favor, because, you know, really all it's going to take for Team Arizona here is one more good fight, and I think they can bust this game wide open, because the Baron is something that they can take, their Caitlyn is super fed, they're going to shred it really quickly, they are in position for this Ocean Drake. I'm looking to see if they're going to get it for free, or if Arkansas is not going to go down quietly.
Yeah, if Arkansas wants to make a move to stop this, Galio has to start making his way a little closer, because his ultimate is not the entire map.
All the members of Arizona have been spotted by the Hawk Shot, but it looks like this one's just going to be given up. Team Arkansas concedes the dragon to Team Arizona, and all of a sudden that previous dragon way more important now. I think that maybe they didn't want to take that fight due to some PTSD from the last dragon fight.
Yeah, you gotta think of something when you're with their fight plans to do something about that Caitlyn, because she would just ripped into them like it was nothing during that last fight.
I think Jax might be the one to be able to do that, but he's gonna need, you know, a death stance or something like that. As we do see, Jax does find an engagement on the Caitlyn, and oh man, I was so excited. I knew that was going to happen. A great enchanted crystal.
You literally called that.
Huge shutdown onto the Caitlyn, and it does go the way of the Jax, which is super important. That's a lot of gold over for that Jax, and all of a sudden, if you're Team Arkansas, you're feeling much better. Your Jax is a big boy.
Yeah, no, Jax and Graves are your win condition. This is a match between the jungle and the top laner trying to beat the mid and the ADC on the other side.
Arkansas, though, does have a problem in the way of trying to siege, as their AD carry is just not strong enough right now. 0, 3, and 4, only 119 CS. Nice flag and drag there to pop the Banshee's Veil, and now in the middle of things is this Jarvan. He gets knocked up, he gets taunted, he gets killed. Morgana with the Zhonias did pop that Soul Shackles, but nothing doing there. An Untitled User has now joined the fight. The Tentacles, they are shellacking everybody. The Ace in the Hole does hit the Dragon, and the Dragon will leap strike away, avoiding the command dissonance. Now Elemental Style, though, he's moving up in the command attack from downtown. Swagnar getting another kill. Inserrate, he's on top of a ward, and they know where he's at. Untitled User hops over the wall, smacks him with that gourd, I think, that Aloui has. I don't know what it is, but it looks like it hurts as he bonked him right over the head, getting a kill.
Yeah, it's crazy that a champion that is 1-6 going into that fight is going to completely turn the tides of that war. That TP in from Aloui and then that ult did so much damage.
Yep, that was absolutely a huge game changer there. And Team Arizona, they might not be up in kills, but they are in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, having your Orianna and your Kaylin being fed might be stronger than your Graves being fed in team fights like that.
Yeah, and you know, it's a shame Inserrate, after being down really early, has played a really complete game. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. It looks like Team Arizona, they have control of the pit. There are no wards on the side of Team Arkansas. They will be the ones to do the Baron. They will be the ones to take the Baron. That is 300 gold in everybody's pocket. The gold lead has expanded to about 5k. And remember, I did say Arizona had to win maybe one more fight and they were going to be able to break the game wide open, and it looks like it's happening.
Yeah, but Arkansas is definitely not out yet. All they really need is one good Blitzcrank pull to completely turn the fight around.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're going to need a, you know, like we mentioned in the pregame, DamperA is going to have to find a hook onto a non-black shielded target, whether that's better target selection that they've been doing, or waiting until Jenna's not around to avoid the black shield. That's going to be really, really important moving forward. Arkansas will have to turtle here, and their wave clear, aside from the Galio, I mean, Galio Graves has like some decent wave clear, but this Galio is pretty far behind, doesn't have a ton of damage, so I'm not sure how easy it's going to be for him to clear waves.
Yeah, Galio's building a lot of tank items. He's got the Hex Tech, but besides that, he went straight for the Protectors, and he's going for a Bramble Vest after that, so he's not that concerned with dealing a ton of damage, but he's the only AP threat on that team.
Inserrate, dashes right into Swagnar, does not hit the Q, and here comes the Shockwave. Swagnar is getting pretty low, though. Has to pop that shield from the Seraph's Embrace, and now Swagnar's in a lot of trouble. The Justice Punch trying to move the Galio forward, but nothing doing there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, VioletCap and Jenna are pushing that inhibitor. In the top lane, Boogly found an engagement onto Untitled User, but is going to have to run away. Jenna and Violet are getting pushed away from that mid inhibitor, and they will be. Boogly does elect to re-engage onto Untitled User. Untitled User does have that Death Stance, though, but the Executioner's Calling is still the way of Boogly. Boogly, not winning in this part of the trade, does leap strike away, but gets pulled anyway. Here comes the Ace in the Hole. It does land. I don't care if you're spinning your staff around, you can't block the JFK ultimate, and down he goes. DamperA is going to land the hook on to Override, but Override is going to be able to flag and drag out of there. And that was a pretty rough engagement there for BoogleyTheDragon, as everybody began to show up, and he's not able to win these 1v1s anymore.
Yeah, Arkansas hard commits trying to kill the Orianna in the bot lane, but once again, I don't think Blitzcrank landed a pull onto her on the Swag at any point, and he got a beautiful Shockwave to put some distance in between him and the Graves to walk away from that, and that gave them the opportunity to push down mid, open up their lane, and then collapse on the Jets.
Team Arizona, they got the soul. It took 6 minutes longer than they would have wanted, but now everybody on the side of Arkansas is going to need some healing reduction. Untitled User just does way too much damage and is way too tanky right now. The Ashe auto attacks, the arrows are more like those like Nerf darts that you would fire at somebody. They don't deal any damage. Untitled User has this Baron buff, is sieging this top turret, and I don't think anybody can pick a fight with them. After their horrifying start, they are making plays happen. Let's see the engagement. Boogly goes in, lands the stun. DamperA had hit the knockup, but Untitled User, oh, they got stunned at the perfect time, and the tentacles don't go down. Meanwhile, We see Inserrate is running away. The TheVioletCap will take down Inserrate. Elemental Style had come in a little too slowly, does get rooted, and is now going to get hit a ton by the TheVioletCap. The trap, a second kill for the TheVioletCap. They are on 3 items completed. They have a ton of damage, and it looks like Team Arizona is beginning to run away with this game. As we see, BoogleyTheDragon finds an engagement onto Swagnar. Swagnar got silenced, does hit the shockwave, does barely get out alive. Swagnar is going to get the kill onto Boogly. That is incredibly demoralizing. Violet and Jenna knocking down the bottom inhibitor turret. It is very, very close to dying here. Did not hit the binding. That would have spelled another kill. TheVioletCap is going to take down this turret, and they want more. They're on to the inhibitor now in the bottom lane. Damper trying to find maybe a hook here. The teleport does come in.
Oriana's
I think it is from Swagnar. It is from Swagnar. So now Swagnar's in the base joining the team. Meanwhile, we did see Override push that wave in. They're going to take another inhibitor. Now they can focus on the top lane. It doesn't have a whole lot of health left. I think Arizona's going to opt for the macro play here. They're going to try to back off. Inserrate wants to fight Jenna, but Jenna will run away, and Team Arizona has absolutely torched the base of Team Arkansas, and it looks like this game is Arizona's to lose.
Yeah, every time there's a team fight that breaks out, even though Arkansas gets the pick onto the Louie, it goes terribly for them in the bot lane, and Arizona is able to just take the entire map off of the team fight loss. And the crazy thing to me about this is Graves is defending a tier 2 turret in the bot lane while his mid lane is wide open. I don't know why he was obsessed with defending that turret, but he's just out of position at that point because they control the entire map.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It was pretty rough goings there, and then you pull the Galio away too, and you don't even get the kills, and you die for it. It's just absolute disaster. I think that might have been a case of Inserrate trying to make a hero play. Oh, they could not quite catch him on a back there, and that was dangerously close to being a disaster.
That would have been the end of the game if he got caught there, because then it's a 3 Baron in the 4v5, and then they can just straight up end the game.
Well, the bad news for Team Arkansas is that I think it's a free Baron anyway, and I think Override and Violet are going to begin working on that Baron. It looks like they are doing it already. They might already be on top of it. I do think they are on top of it. Everybody's going around now. It looks like a potential bait they're trying to make here, as the Baron has now just spawned up. I thought that the Baron had spawned a little bit prior. Got a little over-eager just predicting the plays about 20 seconds before they happen. They call me League's Nostradamus, as Untitled User is now in the middle of 4 members of the enemy team. SamuraiDundee is going to pick up Untitled User, but at what cost? Team Arizona is going to take the Baron anyway. Their lead is up to 10k, and they are going to start sieging the last remaining structures for Team Arkansas.
Yeah, the only thing they've been able to kill this entire game has been the Aloe, and even murdering her doesn't matter because she's still been able to be a menace against them.
Yep, I do agree with that. Now, it's Team Arkansas. They are getting pushed in by Team Arizona. They have... They don't have
gotta get there. They gotta defend their base at some point.
I actually don't know how Dundee died. It looked like they had walked away from that. Maybe they got hit by a straight Alawi tentacle, but that was actually quite surprising. So now it's a 4v4. I was wondering why Arkansas wasn't fighting, but it looks like that was the reason. So Arizona does have firm control of this game. They're waiting for more waves to begin to crash as they're just having a party in the Arkansas base.
Oh, beautiful
Nice
ball.
Landed onto Swagnar. Swagnar could not get off the shockwave. This could be a fight. VioletCap that was on a rampage, and they are completely untouched in the back of this fight, putting out as much damage as they possibly can. DamperA running for his life. Inserrate running for their life as well. BoogleyTheDragon had gone down. This was a really, really nice hook landed, but it looks like elementalstyle is getting pretty low and has to go back into the fountain. This is a pretty nice kill onto Untitled User though, but VioletCap and Jenna are there for it. They are busting down the structures. The first Nexus turret goes down. The second Nexus turret goes down. They are on to the Nexus, and the VioletCap, they played an absolutely clean game in every sense of the word, and they were instrumental in this big win for Team Arizona.
Yeah, Blitzcrank finally lands a great hook there towards the end onto the Oriana, but it's just too little too late at that point. If you're going to go for something like a Blitzcrank, you need to be landing pulls like that the entire game.
Right, that was the hook that we needed to see from minute 1.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, it was not. And, you know, maybe it was foreshadowing when they tried to invade and couldn't get anything going. because of the ward that spotted them out. Maybe that was foreshadowing that Blitzcrank was going to have a rough game. But I gotta say this is a hard-fought game from both teams.
It was.
And Arkansas, they fought well. They fought hard. Boogly got pretty far ahead. Unfortunately, was not able to get to enough late game to translate that into a lead. Wasn't really able to pick up a defensive item, and I can see where the game got a little problematic. And I think the big difference between these two champions is that Untitled User went for that Death Dance second, whereas Boogly did not, and you could see in the fights it made a huge impact. Untitled User was just able to have their way with Boogly from then on out.
Yeah, we saw a full tank Jarvan that game, and they really didn't need to itemize a whole lot of MR because the Galio was building tank, and that was really the only AP threat on the Arkansas side. So that makes building your tank so easily.
Yeah, and we see the Alawi, the 0-5 Alawi, does the most damage in the game. That huge team fight where they teleported in and just absolutely smacked everybody with a bunch of tentacles was absolutely crazy. And that, I think, was the big turning point that allowed Team Arizona to take firm control of the game and never look back.
Yeah, it was looking like anybody's game, really, until that fight. And that was just the first step on the slow burn that just completely torched all of Arkansas.
Yeah, it slowly and slowly just became a cascade of losing one objective after another. I do have to give a lot of credit to Inserrate, though. Inserrate played a really, really good game from the early mishaps, getting really far behind, getting forced almost out of the jungle by the Jarvan, had like almost no HP after that, and getting triple buffed to turn it around and be one of the only reasons why Team Arkansas was still in the game. Got to give them a lot of credit for that. It was a hard fought game by them.
Yeah, that early game was a jungler versus jungle fight where they're going for different objectives, trying to do more than the other, constantly checking each other to see where they're at, what they can take, where they can get an advantage. And it's the kind of jungle play you love seeing in these kind of tournaments.
Yep, absolutely. And Swagnar had played a pretty solid game. Did have the one death near the end of the game, but I do want to talk about the TheVioletCap. I did my homework and I said the TheVioletCap, no cap, has played so much Caitlyn and has done so well, and I did not expect that to change, and it did not. This player has to have Caitlyn banned against them next time. Going into round 2, if you're the opponent of Team Arizona, you might want to stop looking at Swagnar and start looking at the TheVioletCap.
Yeah, putting 4 of your 5 bans into one player, normally that's a strat that doesn't turn out well, because a lot of times people do have deep enough pockets for that not to matter, especially when Orianna is still on the table, because anybody can pick up Orianna pretty easily. I've talked to Def this stream about how powerful she is right now, and you gave up the Caitlyn in that exchange, and it just doesn't seem like a great way to draft your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Caitlyn is just a big lane bully, and she can force out any AD carry at will. And we saw that happen in the bot lane. It was really, really rough goings for SamuraiDundee. They had a really, really tough game. They weren't really able to do anything. They were just an Enchanted Crystal Arrow bot, and that was about it. And, they hit a couple of really good ones, but their damage was just not there that game.
Yeah, it's interesting that he went for the Essence Reaver build route on Ashe. We've seen a lot of players going both the Bork start and the Essence Reaver start on Ashe. It's kind of interesting to see which route people take game to game because it really matters what your opponent is running to which one is optimal. But with that build, she didn't have a ton of tank steel, and that Jarvan just it took them forever to burst him down in those fights towards the end.
Yep. I do agree that Jarvan did get really, really tanky, and so did Alawi, and she was all damage items and was still really, really tanky. And that is very, very scary when you're staring down a tanky bruiser that does a lot of damage.
Yeah, Louie is just a really strong champion all around. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of her this tournament.
Yeah, so I think that will be it for us for the night. The Arizona Starfall and the Arkansas Sandsoldiers was our last game of the evening. We hope you all enjoyed. We do appreciate your time tonight. Everybody who showed up, whether you're a Scuff League player watching some other teams, or whether you're a fan who's just found us, we appreciate you all equally. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight and taking time out of your day to have us entertain you. Connell, thank you so much for being my analysis guy today. You did an excellent job as always, and I do really appreciate you. Also want to shout out our observer, because without our observer, we would all be really, really sad. Andrew, thank you so much for being the observer tonight. Because Trying to do it myself would be absolute hell, and I would not like it. So, for Yanni and Connell, I hope you all enjoyed this edition of Scuff League. I do believe we have some games tomorrow night. Is that correct? Yeah, it looks like 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Connecticut versus North Carolina. And then at 9 p.m. and 9 p.m. Yep, 9 p.m. we have Texas and South Dakota as our matchups. So you don't want to miss those. 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, same place, twitch.tv/ScoffTheLeague. And we hope to see you there.